In this fifth video of my Casting Shadows series, we're going to look at which way shadows go. In this video, I'll discuss vertical and horizontal poles casting shadows on vertical and horizontal surfaces. The easiest is a vertical pole casting a vertical shadow on a vertical surface. Now, on vertical surfaces, the shadows of horizontal poles can either be horizontal, converging horizontal, or diagonal. So here is a horizontal pole creating the horizontal shadow. In the second case, we have horizontal converging poles that create horizontal converging shadows. And in this final one, we have a pole that's perpendicular to the wall, creating diagonal shadows, and we'll get into this a great deal more. On horizontal surfaces, the two types of poles can cast either horizontal or converging horizontal shadows. So the vertical pole here can cast a horizontal shadow, and the horizontal pole here can also cast a horizontal shadow. Now the vertical poles can cast converging horizontal shadows that go to the shadow vanishing point, and horizontal poles like this create converging horizontal shadows that go to the same vanishing point as the poles. In this picture, we see vertical window panes casting vertical shadows on the wall and horizontal converging shadows on the ground that go to the shadow vanishing point, or what I call the shadow direction. Now, the horizontal window panes perpendicular to the wall cast diagonal shadows on the wall and horizontal converging shadows that go to the same vanishing point as the poles. Whenever you see a diagonal shadow, look for a horizontal pole that's perpendicular to that surface, and that would be the top of this window. And this diagonal shadow is from a pane from that window. It becomes a horizontal converging line on the ground. This horizontal shadow is from a vertical pole. Here's a tricky shadow. Let's start with the pole that comes out of the wall from 1 to 2, perpendicular to the wall. It casts this shadow down from 1 to 2. Since number 2 in front is connected to 3, their shadow must also be connected. And then we have a lot of vertical shadows on the vertical wall due to vertical poles. These diagonal shadows indicate that there are horizontal poles coming out of the door towards us. And since this shadow is longer than this one, it means that this handle is further from the door than the knocker. And that makes sense because handles usually are further away than the knocker. I put little poles here, trying to make them look like they come out towards us. And the shadow goes from the base of the pole to a point on the shadow, whereas light rays go through the front of the pole. Here again, I have a tiny pole, and the shadow goes through its base, and the light ray goes through its tip, and it gives us a point on the shadow. This shadow here, a true horizontal shadow, is from this horizontal pole. To understand this shadow, let's first find the light rays. And one would go from this corner down to here, giving us this light ray. And another one would go from here down to here, giving us this light ray. So we can see that the sun is in the upper right and the light rays are parallel. Now this first pole is a horizontal pole perpendicular to the wall, so it casts this diagonal shadow. Pole 2 is vertical, so it casts a vertical shadow. And pole 3 is again horizontal, perpendicular to the wall, so it casts this diagonal shadow. And the shadow ends at the two purple dots where this handle touches the wall. Now, in order to know which shadow goes with which pole, the light rays connect two of them. So here is one pole, and the light rays connect it to its shadow on the wall right here. Here's a summary of this video. In my next video, I'll talk about shadows of rectangles.